Hi guys, so the Flash Arrow crossover is about to start soon, so I'm just going to give you my thoughts on the Flash season 2 so far with, basically just talking about the different characters. I'm going to add an annotation to give you my thoughts on Arrow so far, just if you want to go watch that video first, or you can just watch either one of these videos in either order. And there'll be an annotation for this video in the Arrow video to come back here. But anyway, basically, I like season 2 of The Flash so far. I've been very impressed with it. It got off to a great start. I thought the first episode, the season premiere, was pretty emotionally powerful. Not as emotionally powerful as, say, maybe the Flash season 1 finale, but just the fact, Barry just having to deal with his grief of feeling like he didn't do enough to save Ed. He blames himself for Eddie's death, having to sacrifice himself to stop Eobard Thawne, or the fact that, as you find out in a flashback for season 2, that Firestorm had to fly into the black hole and separate in order for the nuclear fusion explosion, similar to what both Martin Stein and Ronnie tried to do in season 1, episode 13. Create a similar explosion to close the black hole, but it ultimately kills Ronnie. How Martin Stein ends up being the one that survives is anybody's guess. I guess it. But anyway, so he feels like he doesn't deserve, the key to the city. He doesn't deserve to. He feels like Ronnie was the hero that day, but he alienates the rest of Team Flash, but he realizes that he has to face his Earth 2 metahuman, Earth 2 version of Atom Smasher, and he can't do it without the team on his own, and it becomes Iris West takes it upon herself to act as the, I guess you can say, anti-Yoko Ono, for lack of better terms, to bring the team back together, and they're able to help the Flash kill Atom Smasher, for which they find out that he was sent by Zoom, the big bad of the season, who's nobody knows his identity, whether it's the characters or the viewers. We'll get more of his possible identities later. Then they meet Jay Garrick immediately, whose speed was stolen by Zoom before he got sucked into the black hole from Earth 2 to Earth 1, and it turns out that Zoom has been sending metahumans over from Earth 2 to Earth 1 to kill Barry because he wants to be the fastest speedster in the whole multiverse, which I hope the motivation is a little bit more complex than that, because I feel like that just seems a little bit, petty and, just uninteresting if that's really his basic goal. But anyway, Jay Garrick has been interesting, being acting as, a mentor figure to Barry because of what happened with Eobard Thawne. And, he's taught him how, to weaponize lightning and weaponize his lightning streaks, which is cool. It also seems to be becoming a love interest for Caitlin. And everybody complains that it's like, oh, she got over Ronnie too soon, but the fact that this character has died twice, and she's had to grieve him twice, and season 2 begins 6 months after the end of the season 1 finale, I feel like that's, she's had enough time to grieve, to each his own. It would be nice if they give her more to do than just be a love interest for Jay Garrick. They've done stuff with her, like in one episode where the Fury of Firestorm, in which she was trying to find a new match for Martin Stein because he was dying from not having somebody to share the Firestorm Matrix with, and she wanted to pick a guy named Hewitt. But, they were compatible intellectually, but because it was ultimately Jax Jefferson who was the better fit, just because he had, people online have theorized it was because he because he was more similar to Ronnie, at least personality wise. He just wasn't as motivated and maybe not have the smarts. But other than that, it's recreating the dynamic in the comic books for the original Firestorm. I'm not crazy about the character because he speaks too much jive and seems a little too stereotypically black for my taste. Maybe he'll warm up on me, once I see him on Legends. But I kind of miss, the Ronnie, Robbie Amell, the dynamic he had with Martin Stein, and and him reacting to the innuendos and the double entendres and the back and forth they had. But it is what it is. And I've been even talking with people on Twitter and seeing the hashtag Iris, give Iris a voice, in which they feel like Iris hasn't been giving anything to do and she's just been the cheerleader for Barry and Team Flash. It's not something I 100% agree with. She has gotten her own storylines, like in episode 3 where she jumped out the window because she was investigating a slumlord and Barry came to her rescue. Well, Barry came to her rescue, but the fact that she went and put herself in danger, I guess, I don't know. She's been the damsel in distress or the damsel out of distress. It's hard to say. The fact that the whole storyline with her mother finding out that she wasn't dead, that she was just a drug addict who disappeared for years and came back into their lives, wanting to reconnect with Iris. She hid the fact. Francine West hid the fact that not only does she have cancer, dying of McGregor syndrome, but she also had a son with Joe, who she never mentioned to him before she left town. Although the fact that she decides, I don't know how I feel about, she decides to keep that a secret from Joe and not say anything just because I feel like it would damage him. But on the other hand, apparently they're referring to Wally West. I mean, who knows? I mean, this is probably a guy who wants to meet his older sister and meet his biological father, and I'm just wondering what kind of dynamic they're gonna have once Wally finds out that Iris has been acting as a buffer keeping the family apart in a sense, just because she seems to be mad at her mother for abandoning Iris and Joe. And I like how it's like she was able to investigate. She of course investigated it, and being investigative reporter, she's being more assertive. And I like how she's becoming friends with Linda Park, and how they had some stuff to do together. And she had the gun that blasted off Dr. Light's helmet. I mean, I'm trying to look at the glasses half full, but yeah, I would like some more storylines with Iris for sure, and just be more of the iconic woman that she is in the comics, in the Flash mythos. The thing, so I don't know. I mean, even Candice Patton has commented saying that it's not, she's an auxiliary character. It is the show's called The Flash, so she's going to be a supporting character, but don't just sideline her too much. So I'm kind of having mixed feelings about how much they're really doing, whether she's really just getting shafted or not on the show. As for Cisco, he's had some of the funniest lines this season for sure. Like especially in the Fury of Firestorm, where they talked about finding a new match for Martin Stein, and he just says, "Oh, so we're just supposed to put a Tinder app online for metahumans?" Yeah, I'm sure merging with another person is going to be the biggest swipe to the right. It's going to be the biggest swipe to the right, or the fact where he meets Earth 2 Harrison Wells, and he mentions, "You know what? Our Dr. Wells may have been evil, but you're just a dick," is hysterical. And the fact that he was helping Barry when he was going on that literal blind date with Patty Spivot, and he was just, talking through his earpiece and trying to tell him, compliment Patty on her dress and whatnot, and saying stuff like, "Hey man, I'm still creeping and peeping," and I don't really get how they haven't really established like how his powers work. Because first is like his first when he gets vibes, it seems like okay he's just getting visions from what's going on Earth 2, and now then it seems like when he has visions of Zoom torturing Earth 2 Harrison Wells' daughter, he's getting visions that are probably in the past. And then in the last Flash episode, he was getting visions of Hawkgirl in full costume, so it's like he's getting visions of the future, so haven't really established that just yet. And speaking of Earth 2 Harrison Wells, I gotta give credit for Tom Cavanaugh. He's an incredibly versatile actor, and I like how this version of Harrison Wells is kind of like, Dr. Greg House or like the Steve Jobs of the show, basically. And he's confrontational. He's confrontational. He's not afraid. He's impatient because he's trying to save his daughter, and he's not like he's fatherly and calm to Team Flash. He's basically, he doesn't give a damn about the team. He doesn't have time for their bullshit, and he just wants results. And he's also impatient to the point where he has to like yell at Cisco in order to use his vibe powers to find Dr. Light. And the fact that he has this metahuman watch, that he has no problems outing Cisco as a metahuman. He just adds like a great dynamic to the team, and the fact that he eventually has to dress up as the Reverse Flash, much to his chagrin, to save Caitlin from Gorilla Grodd, and how it seems like the friendship's growing between him and the team. It just makes you realize how much you miss Harrison Wells when he's brought back in episode 5 after Martin Stein leaves. And I don't know, those actors work very well off each other. I'm looking forward to what other secrets Harrison Wells might have. He probably knows the identity of the Reverse Flash and just keeping it to himself. Not the Reverse Flash, of Zoom, and keeping it to himself for his own reasons. We'll see. And it was interesting how he called out Jay Garrick as being a coward. I never saw Jay Garrick as a coward in episode 5. It just seemed like they just wrote that in just to... It was just an informed attribute. They just wrote that in just to, I guess, make Barry look like he was the better speedster or the better hero or prop him up or something. But... Anyway... But again, he's been MIA. I hope they do more with him. I mean, Jay Garrick seems to be a little bit on the bland side. I mean, I know he's supposed to be more like the Superman-esque, like, Golden Age person, but I just hope they show that he has, more layers, again, more of his backstory or something. As for Cisco and his date, going out on a date with dating Kendra, that's cute. I mean, obviously it's not going to last since Kendra's going on Legends, but I definitely like their relationship that he had between him and Golden Glider. They had this sort of like budding friendship / possible romance since Cisco saved her life when Captain Cold's dad put the bomb in her neck and forced Captain Cold to work for him during episode 3. And we got to see more honorable side of Captain Cold, and there is some good in him, like Barry rightfully assumed. I mean, I still kind of like seeing him as a villain on the show. I don't want him to go like full-blown hero, but after Legends of Tomorrow, maybe I'll change my mind, and we'll see where that goes. And Patty Spivot, I like Patty Spivot. She's, people complain she's too much like Felicity. Some people complain about that. I think she's very compatible. They have great chemistry. Her and Barry, and she's a good match for Barry, at least for now. I still think Barry was going to end up with Iris, and either she's going to get killed off or Jay Garrick's going to get killed off just to sort of like pile on the shit for one of the other characters. Or just to maybe kill off Jay Garrick, just so the tragedy would further push Caitlin to maybe becoming Killer Frost, or Patty just becomes the Gwen Stacy to you know to bury Spider-Man, because Patty's supposed to have a friendship with Iris in episode 10, and so maybe her death is what kind of also helps bring them together in the way that Gwen Stacy's death kind of brought together Mary Jane and Peter Parker, possibly. That's just one theory. Getting back to theories on Zoom, I'm still think it could be either Henry Allen, maybe Ronnie Raymond, or possibly maybe Barry, but Barry doesn't have the build to fill out the suit, or maybe the suit says padded as a red herring to throw people off. I don't know. I was starting to suspect Henry Allen just because he has the same build as Zoom, and his eyes look similar. I saw that photo comparisons online, and yeah, people are wondering why would an Earth 2 version of Henry Allen want to kill Barry? He was affected by the particle accelerator explosion on Earth 2. It could have driven him insane. We don't know enough about Zoom or the backstory to, make any assumptions or any of the Earth 2 doppelgangers. And by the way, as a quick note, I loved that they brought back Linda Park. I love the actress. I like the character, and how they made Dr. Light Linda's Earth 2 doppelganger and made her a more layered version of the villain of the week, because she was just a thief but was accidentally killed the editor at Central News, but was afraid of Zoom, was just trying to kill the Earth 1 Linda, and he just needed to, and she was just trying to get away from him. And then in episode 6, where they had this hysterical Linda pretending to be Dr. Light and Barry pretending to fight her, it was just, it reminded me, you'd have to see it for yourself. I can provide a link, but it reminded me of Nightman Cometh from It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia, in my opinion. I hope it's not the last to see with Linda. I'm happy with what they're doing on The Flash so far. And if there's anything I forgot to talk about, you can leave it in the comment section down below. If you like this video, like and share. I'm about to go watch the Flash Arrow crossover, and I hope you guys enjoy it tonight. And I'll talk to you guys soon.